and I'm going to spotlight you and then you can introduce yourself. Okay.
Unmute myself. Good morning, everybody. It's been a minute since I've been here. I sometimes I'm looking over Geneva's shoulder on some Saturdays when I'm available to see how you guys are doing. And she's just doing an amazing job taking over these sessions, and she and Makina and Addie, I'm just grateful for. So it's really good to see you guys. My name is Cynthia Andrews. For those of you who don't know me, I work in several capacities, but many of you may know me from when I was at the Senior Center in Seattle. Some may know me because of this session, doing these kinship caregiver sessions, and some may know me because I also work in the community with a organization called Tilth Alliance, and I'm a food waste prevention educator. We partner with the city of Seattle to do these workshops. And I did one for Makina. I don't know if you remember, I did one for your kinship group probably maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
You did. I don't think it was that long ago, though.
Was it that 3 years
I'm thinking
ago?
like 2 or 3 years ago.
Pre-COVID. I think it was pre-COVID.
Right before COVID. So yeah, about 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I think when we were talking about you, I was like, no, I think that's me. I think she was the one that was in charge of the group when I did it with Laura.
Yes. Yeah. I
Um,
remembered you. Yep.
And about a year and a half ago, I did it for some of the folks that might be still on here, Angie, I think, and some other folks. But so if you've seen this presentation before, please be ready to participate. If you haven't, I'm excited for you because there's so much that we know, and this is an interactive session, so I'm going to ask questions and I want you guys to chime in. But there's so much that we know, and then there's so much that we don't know. And this gives us an opportunity to share with each other what we're doing, because, well, I'm not going to give this away. I'm going to go ahead and get started, and then we'll talk more about the kind of money that we can save, the products that we can use, and hopefully I can get you guys a couple of prizes, and we'll go from there. So
Thank you. Yeah, those who've seen it, I'll like to say, just be prepared to be refreshed.
yes, be refreshed.
I need a refresher myself, so I'm excited to learn.
Oh, good. Well, I'm going to start you guys out with a question. And so the question is about what % of food in the United States do you think is wasted, goes wasted?
I would say vegetables.
What percentage? What number?
Oh,
Do you
what
think
number?
it's- Yeah. Do you think it's 10%?
Oh,
How many people think it's 10%?
Higher.
Higher?
I think
20?
Higher.
Higher? 30?
I would say 30
I
myself.
would say 30 or more.
Percent.
Yep, actually it's 40%.
Wow.
40% of our food goes unwasted, and that's not just groceries, that's foods in restaurants, that's food everywhere. But it's, when you purchase your groceries and you set it all out to put it away, push aside 40% of it and see how much actually, that looks like when you're doing your when you're looking at your own groceries. That's a lot. That's almost half of your food.
That's why I heard dumpster diving at Whole Foods became sort of famous for young, struggling street kids.
Oh, it is a very big deal.
So much
It is a very big deal. We'll talk about that in just a couple. After I play this video, we'll talk a little bit about that, okay? Because you'll see some things in this video. So, why does wasting food matter? I'm going to play this great video. Sound. All right, gotta turn it off.
Dear food. Dear fruit.
I know you already know this, but I need you.
You bring my family together.
You sweeten my celebrations.
You make my deals.
You satisfy my senses.
And you keep me alive.
Trabaja muy duro para que sea posible.
Spending your life growing in the field.
The factory.
Or the sea.
I tried to be good to you.
I give you half of my land.
2/3 of the water I consume.
1/10 of my energy.
And 1/6 of my workforce.
But I want to apologize.
Because after all that, you deserve to be eaten.
But instead, I throw away almost half of you. Enough calories to feed 150 million people.
From harvest to home, I waste half of all fruits, vegetables, seafood, and 1/3 of all grains.
I'm better at meat and dairy, wasting only 20%.
But this is a double waste, because essentially, I'm also dumping all the grain or grass the animals ate to make the muscle or milk.
And I waste you in many ways.
For example, sometimes I leave you in a field to die because it costs more to harvest you than you're worth.
Other times, I mistakenly damage, contaminate, or spill you.
Or I reject you when you're imperfect.
Because I judge by appearance.
But mostly I squander you in supermarkets, restaurants, and homes.
When you are so close to being eaten.
I offer too much of you.
So I take too much, and I can't finish you.
Or I can't sell all of you before you go bad.
At home, I forget about you.
Or I cook too much and I don't know how to store you.
Or maybe I just don't like leftovers.
Part of the problem is that, on average, I spend a smaller fraction of my household budget on you than in any other country or any time in history. And my spending is spread out over days and weeks, so I don't notice the cost of wasting you.
But my lack of noticing adds up. I devote 4 California's worth of land.
And more water than all non-agricultural consumption combined.
Just to grow food that doesn't get eaten.
This is not your fault. It's mine.
Only I can buy less of you and eat more of what I do buy.
Only I can accept your imperfections.
Realize that best before doesn't mean use by.
And store you better.
In general, I need to learn more about you.
Because this is about us and our relationship.
Yo te ayudo a crecer.
And then I eat you.
Anything else is a waste.
Thanks to the Food Policy Research Center at
All right. Was that sobering?
That was done very well.
Wasn't that a great video?
Yeah, it was.
I love it. And I'll make sure that you guys get the links to the videos that I share today so that you can go back and maybe share it with your kids, you know, and family members, because oftentimes when we see it in a different capacity, then we remember it and we're able to kind of use the tools that we're given. But also it's really very sobering because it's true. And there's so many folks, you know, that we waste more food than we even can think about until you see something like this. How many people saw themselves in a piece of that video?
Yeah.
I did. I still do. I teach this, and I still have to remind myself all the time. Best practices. So I think I may have given this away earlier, but every year, about how much do you think an average family of 4 in the United States spends on food waste, on wasted food?
Ooh, I would say
You think
probably a year.
A year.
I would say about 2,000. I would know that
You
would
said
be for me. Oh, 15? Wow.
Oh, I hit that early. Yes. Well, the thing about it is, so I tell this to people all the time. At the last study was 1,500, right? But with the cost of inflation, it very well could be 2,000 and over, because of the cost of food these days. So yes, 1,500, 2,000, it could be very more for some folks. And this is just the average family of 4. So they, in the video, they talked about 4 California sizes, that the amount of food, if we spread it across, it would take up 4 California sizes. Also, looking at this map, it's a little easier to see, but it takes, somebody's coming in here. It uses up the space larger than Canada. And so we can see if we spread food waste across one farm, if we made this one farm, it would be larger than Canada, the amount of food that we waste. So who does it hurt? Everyone. Everyone. 1 in 8 households don't have enough to eat. And, oh, go ahead. Who was talking? Wanted to say something.
Cynthia, have you ever presented this to, or has the city or anyone tried to present this to the schools, the elementary schools and the junior highs and the high schools?
We have a couple that I've done a couple sessions with school groups like PTA,
right,
but not the schools, but we do need to get into the schools.
Yeah, because I think the education, the earlier you can start repeating this message on, the better we're going to be, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think they're working on it on different levels. But it does start in the school, because I'll just segue here a little bit, because when you think about, so this is what I think about when I think about kids in the school eating, how much time do they have to eat their lunch?
Oh yeah.
They grab their lunches and they have how much time?
I want to say
10
20
minutes, 15 tops.
How long, Jaden? 20. Jaden says 20.
20 minutes to get their food, get seated, eat their lunch, and get out there. Does that include, Jaden, does that include recess?
Does that include recess, Jaden? No, he says no.
Okay.
And then he has 20 minutes for recess. But then you got to think about, I mean, I've sat in on his lunches with him when he was younger. You got to figure, like, how long does it take the kid to stop talking and start putting food in him?
Right, exactly.
He used to send notes in his lunch pail that said, less talking, more eating.
And does food come back in his lunch pail?
It used to, but not now. He's bigger boy and he gets the free lunch, so he wants to eat what the rest of the kids are eating. So I've surrendered.
Excellent. I think I said that because of the amount of time that they get to do all of that. Most of the kids don't eat all of their food. And where does it go? What are they taught to do? They are taught to take their tray and dump it, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'd make him bring it home and eat it when he got hungry. When he got home, it was always packed with a good ice pack.
Right.
The schools won't let them do that. The schools won't let them do that anymore. Everything has to be thrown away.
Right, exactly. Because our food law, our laws are not feasible when it comes to
in their own lunch pail. They have to throw it away too.
That's my understanding.
No, my grandson takes his lunch to school, and what he doesn't eat, he brings back and he eats.
Yeah, my grandson does too.
The class and the lunch environment.
Well, we know they can't take the lunch from school.
Yeah, that has to go
home. And there's, there are new companies that are out there working on you know, advocating for food waste and advocating to save food, because they're called food rescue programs, and they are fighting with our federal government and our state governments to be able to rescue the food that people are throwing away, not the food that's been eaten, and not that part. That's where I come in. But the foods in the restaurants, the foods in the grocery stores, like you were saying, who was saying that dumpster diving is a very big deal?
Constance was.
There are some videos out there of people who are challenged to dumpster dive, and they have come out with some amazing brand new foods that the stores can't sell anymore, and they're not allowed to give them away, many of them. Some of them do. I know Fred Meyer, like here in this area, Fred Meyer is able to send food to the food banks. Not all folks have that regulate that requirement to do that, but there are some that you'll find their food in different food banks or in some, you know, grocery outlets and some things like that people may try to buy, but they still have a shelf life. They still have the regulation. Once it passes that, they have to throw it away. And so folks who are going into the dumpsters, unfortunately, they have to do that instead of them just setting things out where people can come and get them. You know, they have to go and dive for it because they can't, the stores are not allowed to give them away. Same thing in restaurants, where restaurants, you know, they have lots of food left over. They cannot package that food and give it out for free. They have to throw it away. And so there are food rescue programs that are working with different restaurants, different grocery stores to try to save that food so that they can give it away, because there's no way that we should go hungry, that people should go hungry with the amount of food that we are wasting.
Jade and I were once at Children's Hospital after an appointment, and we were near the cafeteria area by their Starbucks, and they were closing, and I watched them fill up 2 huge plastic garbage bags full of their food. And I was like, what are they doing with that? And then I realized they were throwing it away, and I just wanted to go, you want to pass that to me? I can hand it out, you know?
Exactly. There are some folks, like I know this, there's some folks that will go and ask, and if they have good relationships and quiet relationships, they can get some things like, there's a veteran gentleman that lives here in Linwood, and he goes to Costco and gets the old pizzas, you know, the pizzas from at the end of the night, and he takes them and gives them out to homeless folks. But it's few and far between that we have folks that are doing that kind of work. So yeah, it does affect everyone. So what can we do about it? I'm gonna play you guys video. And I hope for those of you who haven't seen it, I'd love for you to get out a pen. Well, all of you, get out a pen and pencil and write down as many tips and cues that you can find in this video. And then I'm gonna, we'll talk about it, and I should be able to give out a couple of prizes. How many rappers do we have in the house? If the kids are around, you might want them to come and watch this video. This is a video that we produced, I think about years ago. It's gotten a lot of traction around the country, and it's all about food waste. So here you go.
Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste the food. Don't waste the food. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste the food. Too many people are wasteful. Don't waste the food. I can show you how to save some. Don't waste your food. Too many people are wasteful. Don't waste the food. I I can show you how to save some. Buy what you need. Track what you have. Use it all up. Store it to last. Buy what you need. Track what you have. Use it all up. Store it to last. Buy what you need. Plan your meals with a grocery list. Don't shop a greed. Only buy what you supposed to get. Track what you have. Put new items behind old ones. Label whatever's about to expire. Don't be surprised when the mold comes. Use it all up. Don't leave a leftover inside. Even if it means the family having leftovers every single night. Find recipes for the food that you still got. Treat it like some gumbo. Whipping it up in a steel pot. Store it to last. Freeze what you can't finish. Freeze what you can't finish. Freeze what you can't finish. Prep your meals and snacks. Measuring tools to be exact. If you keep track of what you're using, you'll reduce how much you lose. Don't waste your food. Too many people are wasting. Don't waste your food. I can show you how to save some. Don't waste your food. Too many people are wasting. Don't waste your food. I can show you how to save some. Buy what you need. Track what you have. Use it all up. Store it to last. Buy what you need. Track what you have. Use it all up. Store it to last.
Don't waste your food.
Don't waste your food.
Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste the food. Don't waste the food. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste the food. Too many people are wasting. Don't waste the food. I can show you how to save some. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Too many people waste.
Sorry.
Buy what you
Although
need.
it's worth playing again.
Yeah, buy what you need, track what you have.
Buy what you need. Okay, so let's talk about some of the keys that you guys have learned so far in that session, in that song. And if everybody, when rap means rhythm and poetry, right? And just like the ABCs and all of these other songs that help us remember things, we wrote this song so that people could remember how to prevent food waste. So who wants to give out some keys? I heard somebody say buy what you need.
So buy what you need. Look for expired dates.
Make a shopping list.
Use what you have. Freeze what you don't need. Track what you have.
Find recipes for what you have left over.
Use it all up.
I love it. So when you think about, so buy what you need, track what you have, use it all up, store it to
last.
When you think about buying what you need, how many people go in the grocery store? First of all, we don't go when we're hungry, right? We know what that does, right?
Yep.
But when you go into the grocery store, how many people make a list?
I do.
Usually leave it at home.
Well, yeah.
I make a list, but when I get in the store, I go off the list sometime. However, I do guess what's on the list, but I end up getting more.
Okay.
You get in there, the price look good to you.
Right.
And it looks good, like chicken and stuff looks really good. You're freshly packed, and so I just buy it.
Right. So you end up buying more than what you need?
Oh, yeah.
And do you end up wasting, or do you store it all?
I do store. I'm not going to say I store it all because I do waste, especially like sometime on the vegetables and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, I buy too much of the vegetables and then it goes bad. So I kind of kick myself for that, you know.
Right.
But as far as for the meat and stuff, you know, I can always freeze that, you know, and pull it out as I need it. And that's the way I do it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. How, who else does? Who else buys more than what they need when they go to the grocery store?
You know,
And
I'm usually really good about not wasting food, but this last 2 months, I've just fallen through the cracks. Like Jade and I used to have a salad every night, and for some reason I don't know, we just got tired of it or something, but that's the only real vegetable I can get in him. So I do this big tub of greens that I get with my Fresh Bucks that I noticed the other day. Some of the leaves are going yellow. I'm like, oh my God, what can I do with those? You know?
right. So you want to make sure. So I always tell my daughter, because she just did this, she just bought like a gang of salad, right? Just all these greens. And it's like, oh my God, are we going to eat all of this in, you know, the period of time that it stays fresh? So I told her, yes, put it in a big container and then shake it up, you know, every day or twice a day. You know, you want to move that lettuce around so that it stays, you know, it doesn't, because sometimes it will compress and then the moisture will get to it and then it starts to get soggy, it starts to turn. But if you keep that, if you keep rotating them, if you notice, that's what they do in the grocery stores or in some of the restaurants that have like a salad bar and such. You want to keep that moving. So shake it up once a day at least, and you should see a better difference. Sarah has her hand up.
Oh, okay. So, you know, I buy a lot of produce. So what I do 3 things. If it's bakeable, I make breads out of it, because I'll make zucchini bread, I'll make banana bread, I'll make apple raisin bread. I'll make bread out of it because Trenton likes that. And that's the way I get produce in it. But I'll make carrot bread. With my greens and stuff, my brother had a juice presser that he didn't use. So I stole his juicer. He wasn't using it. So now I take the rest of the vegetables and I juice them and I make drinks out of them.
Excellent. And then do you use the pulp? Like if you make carrot juice, that's great for your carrot bread.
Yes, keep my pulp separated, because then I don't have to grate the carrots because it's already there. I don't have to grate the zucchini because it's already there, and I just throw it in bread. And Trenton's just loving the bread because he thinks he's getting something sweet, and you know, he's not.
Can you share that you said apple raisin bread?
Yeah.
Can you share that
recipe? I will go get it for you, and I will do that. Trenton, can you
Thank you. And your carrot bread.
Okay.
Would love the recipe for that. Who else has questions?
I will send them to Makina, and Makina can send them to you because I have her email.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Let's see. Is that Cecilia?
I have a food dehydrator. And so when I have much of something, I put it in the little shelves of my food dehydrator. I don't do it as much as I used to, I must admit, but in the summer when you have like berries and things like that, but that's when you can usually get a lot of local produce and stuff.
Say that last part. I'm sorry, I didn't.
In the summer, you can usually get stuff that's real fresh, and then you get so excited about it, you're going to use it, but then you don't use it all. So before it goes too bad, you can stick a dehydrator in.
Right.
Like that.
That's a good idea. How many people are there? Anyone, and you don't have to raise your hand, but there are some folks that, you know, when we say buy what you need, we often times we don't think about that when we talk about going to food banks. And oftentimes when people go to food banks, and this is a class that I really want to try to develop, but when people will go to the food bank, they think that they have to take what they're given because it's free. And then a lot of it will end up going to waste. But you're oftentimes, you know, we're embarrassed to say, you know, to say no. First of all, it's hard to go there for some folks, but then it's, you know, you feel ungrateful if you say no, I don't. And but it's okay to say, you know, to shop at the food bank. If you're not going to eat it, someone else might. So it's okay to say, no, we're not going to eat that. Thank you very much. But, you know, I'd rather not take that, because oftentimes families will go to food banks, they'll take what they're given and then end up throwing it away. And, you know, so I just want to throw that out there.
That was a big thing with us because of all of our food allergies, but I didn't want to feel ungrateful. So in the beginning, I would take everything and then try to go around my apartment complex and see if people wanted it. But after a while, that became like too much work. And I did find I was throwing a lot away. So I had to start saying, I'm sorry, we're allergic. We don't eat that in our family. And makes you, and just not being a pride thing.
When we used to go to the food bank up in Skyway, right in there by where the sheriff's department is, and they would give a lot of stuff too. But if it was stuff that I knew that we wasn't going to eat in my house, I didn't take it. But I would thank the people very much, you know, for offering it to me, and I would let them know, you know, I don't want to take it and then not use it because we don't eat it. Because something you're right. Somebody else might come along and might be something that they want. And I remember at one time up there, they was giving people like whole cases of tuna fish. Well, yeah, I did take that because we eat a lot of tuna here, you know. And they was giving you a lot of rice. I took that because we had a lot of that. So anything that we eat a lot of, I would take it. But if we don't eat it at all, I just don't take it because I don't feel like that, you know, that's right to take something and then you don't know what you're going to do with it after. And I'm not like you, Geneva, you know how you go in your complex and get, well, I don't really know too many people, but my neighbors right, you know, on the side of me because I live in a townhome, you know, and we kind of basically eat the same thing because, you know, we share a lot, you know, so I just could not, I would feel bad in doing that, you know.
Yeah, that's hard.
Other people that really, really, really need it, you know, and didn't have means of getting it, you know, but I'm taking it and I'm not going to do anything with it. That's not right.
I'm just opening up this screen for a few minutes because I do want to go through this, because this normally I do this is an hour class, but we have 2 hours, so I'm going to take my time. Thank you, Gloria. That's really good because there's so many of us that are not saying no, and we can't. We'll go and then those who go to the grocery store and just buy because maybe you have enough money or maybe they've got a super sale. It's okay to buy more than what you need, but the important thing is to make sure that you store it properly so that you can keep it and not end up throwing it away.
Right.
One of the things that Jade and I have been doing, well, like we got those Maverick meals at the holidays, and this Christmas they did that huge ham. I think it was Christmas, or it might have been Thanksgiving. It was huge ham, and it's just him and I still had ham in the freezer from the last time they did it, you know, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do with this? So what I did with it is I cooked it up and then I cut it up and put it in baggies and labeled it. And I even put the big ham bone in there. And there I found on Facebook, or on my Buy Nothing group, I found there's a kitchen, an outside kitchen at 110th and 38th Avenue Northeast. And this woman in her front yard, she's got electricity out there. She's got a refrigerator. She's got a freezer. She's got a sink. She's got drawers with, where you can put food, and you just stick it out there and people come when they need it. So we've been donating stuff that we know, like we can't eat all this. We need to.
Yeah.
That's made us feel a little bit better.
Where's that located?
It's over by Meadowbrook. It's in North Seattle. It's over off of 35th Avenue Northeast by the Meadowbrook Community Center, but it's 110th. The cross street is 110th, and I want to say either 38th or 39th Avenue Northeast and
Awesome.
110th Street. So you can get to it from Lake City Way. If you're on Lake City Way, when you're going past those big, after 95th Street and you're going past those big storage things, there's a turn to the right and drop down and just go straight, and you'll see it. She's got like little white lights all around the canopies, and it's a nice setup she's put out there.
That's neat.
Yeah,
That's neat. There's a lot of efforts out in our different communities for folks to share food. You have to be careful and still be wise, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it's an amazing effort that folks are really conscious about the economy, conscious about food insecurity, which is one of the biggest between housing. Food is the next in line for people, are going without enough food. So there are community kitchens happening all over the cities, and there are swapping, and I love this. I'm going to go try to find it and drive by just to get a look at it. But I think it's a really important thing. They're very conscious people who really want to do great things for their community.
We had a bunch of potatoes, and we made up a big thing of creamy potato soup, and then we went to the Dollar Tree because I just felt like I wanted to give stuff away, and we bought a bunch of little containers, and then we labeled them and we put the date on them and stuck them in the refrigerator. So, and one woman said, "Are you the person who makes that good cornbread?" When I was there, and I said, "No, that sounds great." So people, and I've seen in their refrigerator little mini sandwiches. I'm like, oh my God, I'm kind of hungry. I haven't had lunch, and I helped myself. So I kind of, give and exchange.
Nice.
Cool.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So we talked about buying what you need. Tracking what you have was one of the other pieces. How many people, like Constance was saying, that she'll freeze things and write down what it is, put in the freezer with the date on it. Does anybody do that? I'll be honest, I don't. I try to keep it all mental, but it's really important. It's one of those important keys. But for so long, it's only been just me. So I kind of know what I have in the freezer. My daughter we kind of have like different levels, and our freezer has different compartments. So she keeps like frozen veggies and fruit in one. And so we kind of know, but excuse me, it is super good to be able to track what it is that you have, and especially in your refrigerator during the course of the week, which we'll talk about also. Use it all up.
I haven't always been good at it. I started doing it after the first time I seen your thing, your presentation. But the other day I pulled something out of there that had been in there so long I didn't know what it was, and I thought it out. It was some old. I must have been juicing something. I was like, I have no idea what this is. And then I was like, oh, this just gotta go.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that where you can't help it. But it's really super good for people. If you have a great mental capacity that you can remember what it was that you made, that's great. But if you have a tendency to forget, which many of us do when we get older, just write it down. Just write it down. It's all good. So let's talk a little bit about, just think about yourself and what in your home do you waste the most? I have bananas up here because that's a big one for me. I do better now. Bananas.
Yeah.
Fruits and vegetables.
We
Oh, I
we
can't-
get apples and
I
they
can't
do-
hear somebody. Was that you, Danita?
Yeah, I said fruits and vegetables.
Fruits and vegetables.
Mhm.
Constance, you were saying,
Our apples tend to go soft, but then I found out the neighbor next door, she likes to make applesauce. So I said, Jane, take this over to Ingrid, you know,
excellent,
give it to the neighbor to cook.
excellent. Mine is
Larnett.
bananas.
Larnett said fruits and vegetables. I buy too much, but the truth is I need to eat more.
Mhm.
Right. We buy with good intentions, right?
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
We buy with good intentions. We say, and it's usually fruits and vegetables that people say, okay, this week, like my child did the other day. It was so funny because when I walked in the dining room, entire dining room table was green because she had lettuce, bags of lettuce, she had spinach, she had cabbage, 2 cabbages, 2 different kinds of lettuce. What'd you have? Romaine lettuce and iceberg lettuce and bags of spinach and avocados and
Cabbage. And then I had arugula. I had a moment, you guys.
She had a moment because good intentions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good intentions. We want to do the best. So when we go to the grocery store, we say, here we go. I'm going to do right this week. And then life gets busy because we know that cooking takes time and
Right.
life gets busy. And so we make the quick thing instead of cutting things, you know, and then they end up going bad. So
They
anyway,
haven't gone bad yet.
no, it's not.
Thank God
No,
for your
we're going
class.
to eat that. I told her we are going to eat this lettuce. We're going to eat this cat. We're
We
eating
don't have
it.
salad every day.
Every morning. We got salad for breakfast. Let's do this because we are very conscious about, you know, food costs money. And in this day and time, right now, in this moment, things are tight.
Yeah.
And so the better we can do with eating what we have, the better we save the environment, save food, you know, and all of the above, all the reasons why we're here. So,
Mom,
so we're-
Sarah said 2 waste bread. Angie said berries. And then Sarah said I bake too much when I stress baking. Oh, it's stress baking. Oh, no.
stress baking, that's great. I mean, it's not.
And then Jerry
hard.
said potatoes. Wow. Actually, that's one thing I don't waste. It's interesting what some people are really good at and what some people are really not good at. Because yeah, my other stuff goes bad. Berries I have to freeze, Angie, or they will go bad for sure.
Right, berries are.
I don't bake as much anymore, but maybe I need to try stress baking.
Stress baking. I love that. So
This is Sadie. I waste a lot of milk. Instead of getting a gallon, I've been getting a quart.
Oh, that's
Okay.
a good idea. Because I waste milk lately too, because my kids are gone and they used to eat cereal all the time. So I keep milk. But now I still buy the same amount of milk, but don't use it because they're not here anymore. So I'm gonna start buying the smaller ones.
Exactly.
And potatoes too. I don't cook any potatoes like I used to. So those things will start to stink. Cause that's how I'll know. I'm like, oh shoot, I must have some bad potatoes in my cabinet because I smell it. But yeah.
And that's a big one because when we get an empty nest syndrome, like, you know, some people have like big families, and then I know you all have kids, but you may not have as many as you did when you were raising your own, right? And so, but we still get a tendency to want to cook all this
A lot more.
right? Or buy all of this because it's, you know, it's kind of a habit that we just go out and buy a gallon of milk and only
that's it,
drink a quarter of it, you know, and buying a quart of milk doesn't even sound right.
I'll go for the half gallon. I don't even like.
Well, we're also dealing with caregivers, and so your love language is to give and to cook and to take care. Yeah. So it's very hard to make a small amount because you just want to take care of the world and feed the world. Like it's all
Right.
good intention.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody has, yeah. So we tend to buy more. And then we tend to waste more. So that's a question. So now we're getting into the why. So we know the what foods are you wasting more of, but
in there.
Why?
Can I, this is Gloria again.
Yes.
Can I say something to Geneva? Since she went out and
Honey?
she bought all of this cabbage and, the green stuff like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, when I buy my cabbage, because I love cabbage and I love to cook cabbage, what I do when I
Connect
bring
the
it
dots?
home, I have a special plastic knife that I cut it up, and then I wash it really good, and then I throw it into my salad spinner, and then I take it and put it in a Ziploc bag, and I label the date that I bought it, and I write cabbage on it. And then when I feel like I want cabbage, I go in my freezer, because I put it in the freezer and take it out. And I was telling my sister about it. She said, well, how do you cook it like that? I say, well, you're going to either add a little bit of bacon or grease in the bottom of your pan, or you're going to do water if you don't want to do the bacon. And so I let the cabbage, I put it in the pot, and then I steam it. And then I add whatever type of meat I want to add to it. And half of the time, it's either bacon or it might be the Hillshire sausages, the kielbasa one. And it is good. It is really good.
I sometimes I used to freeze it, and I need to do that again, but that's a great way to do it immediately, right? And when you steam it, it doesn't get super soggy, right?
No.
Okay, because if you
And
boil it after it's frozen, it will emulsify. It gets really mushy.
Right.
But
So
steaming it, that's a great idea.
Put it in your salad spinner and just
salad spinner. That's the
water
key.
out. Yeah, get a lot of that water out, and then that way, yeah.
Thank
And
you.
it's good. And my sister, she can tell you, say that she's eaten it since, when I fix it like that. Because she was like, how do you keep it from getting mushy? And I just told her what I do, and it's good.
That's a good tip.
And it lasts longer. Addie said bacon is probably the better, not the water. She said when you said bacon or water, she said bacon. Do the bacon grease.
Yep. Give that flavor.
Give the flavor. That's so
Thank
great.
you. Yeah,
But
I better go in there and chop it up today.
Those are the keys that we talk about. It's like freeze what you can't finish, or we want to store it to last. So that's one of the ways, to label it, to store it, and to be able to use it again. And when you have so many, like when you don't have as many folks, that's what you can do. Like I used to make smoothie packets. Like all the things I wanted to put in my smoothie, I would put in a Ziploc bag so I could just plop it in to the blender with, my ice and whatever, and then do it that way. Because otherwise I would end up wasting it. But freezing, we'll talk about freezing, and I'll make sure that you guys have access to a freezer guide and all, because it really is important. And what Miss Gloria was saying about drying out the cabbage, because you can store cabbage and then it's waterlogged and then it doesn't do what you want it to do.
Right.
So making, those little tips are great, are absolutely great. What are the other whys? Why are we wasting? Makina said she, milk was hers, and it's because the kids don't drink it anymore, or they're not there to eat the cereal that they used to eat.
Sometimes we're just lazy.
Say that. Absolutely.
We're not big milk people. We usually do like a coconut milk or rice milk, but Jaden had a friend over like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, and he really likes milk. And so I made the mistake of buying a half a gallon of nice organic whole milk, and it sat in there, and I kept looking at it, kept looking today, Jaden. I said, it's your job now. You get to get rid of that. So he had to check it out and pour it out. It was pretty chunky.
Oh, I bet.
So
I
from now
bet.
on, I'm just gonna get those little like small sizes that they give the kids in the cafeteria.
And so then we talk about waste as far as recycling and all. That's a whole nother class. But when we tend to buy, we buy those little containers of everything, and then now we have a issue of how do we get rid of these? How are they recyclable? Do we put it in the garbage? And all of that. So anyway, that's a different class. But so how many people okay, make a grocery list. We're going to talk about meal planning in just a few minutes. How many people eat out?
I do, but not that often.
Does DoorDash count?
DoorDash does count. Raise your hand, daughter.
I do.
When you eat out, so we talked about this a little bit earlier. When you eat out, we know that especially if you go to like some of the restaurants that serve a lot of food. Like I was at breakfast the other day, and I had oatmeal because I had eaten out the night before and took something home. So I just had something small. But my person I was eating with ordered a full breakfast. And this restaurant serves so much, like hash browns and pancakes and sausage and fruit. And I mean, just lots of it. And she said, I am not going to be able to eat this all. So I said, before you even start, get a container, put half of it into the container. And so that's what she did. But we know that we're not going to eat everything that they serve us, most likely at restaurants. So, and some folks in many cultures don't think taking home leftovers, they think taking home leftovers from restaurant is like uncool, and all, but or folks who are financially okay, they say, well, I'm past that now. I don't have to take home leftovers. And so they end up, that's why a lot of people oftentimes will throw food away because of pride or because they don't think they have to these days. But the reality is it's really important to take your food from a restaurant home, because otherwise, and save it for the next day, have a lunch or have a dinner or whatever. But it is super important to be conscious of what you're ordering. And if they give you too much, don't be ashamed to take it home. Constance.
I'm sure some of my friends think I'm crazy. I don't eat out very often, but in the past, I have no problem turning to my friend and said, are you going to finish that? Because if you're not, I'm taking it home and eating it later. And they're like, okay. And then Jade and I, we very seldom eat out in restaurants, but we'll like go get a burger here and there because I'm like, oh, I can't even cook tonight. But one thing that ends up happening is we end up having more French fries than we need. And so I figured out if I chop those suckers up with scissors, and then we love bacon, but I don't like the mess. And so I've been getting the pre-cooked bacon at Costco. And so if I chop that up with scissors, throw that in the skillet with those chopped up French fries.
I'm on camera taking all my pills.
Then,
I'm unmuted.
And then put the, fry it up good, slap a little cheddar cheese on there and some sour cream. And then he has his hash browns with this breakfast.
Wow.
He loves it.
That sounds good.
Once I did a hack, I was in Missouri visiting friends, and I had this whole big bag of potato chips left over, and I was with Jaden's mom when she was clean and sober, and I was fixing breakfast for my friends that were staying there, and I did this like, shh, don't tell anybody. And I took those potatoes chips and I smashed them up and threw them in the skillet and made hash browns out of those. They were really good. Everybody loved them. And I didn't tell anybody what I did.
See, being creative is really cool because you can take that leftover and make something amazing with it, just as Constance has. How many people understand what the dates and the date labels mean? Sometimes you'll get you'll see used by, but oftentimes it says best used by. And best used by is more about quality than it is safety. Oftentimes it will say best used by instead of expired. Like there's some things that will expire, such as baby formula. You never want to use baby formula past the date that's on there. But oftentimes you buy something and it says best used by because it may the taste may differ just a little bit if it goes past, 2 weeks past the date, but it's usually still safe to eat. And so when people who shop at places like Grocery Outlet, where they buy a lot of things because the date might be leaning towards that date, but those things, they've opened those grocery stores because they're still good to eat. They're still safe to eat. And so I always tell people, when you look at the date, even if the date is near or past that date, use your eyes, your nose, and if you have to, use your mouth in order to test to see if the food is still good. You can go far beyond what that date says. That date says is just more about quality than it is about safety. Constance.
I can tell you a trick about dates when you're shopping. So I used to work in a grocery store, and what they would do is they would have you shove all the soon to expired stuff to the front. So when I'm buying bread or even canned goods, I always, or cheese or anything or sour cream, I reach in the back and like grab one in the back to compare the date to the front. And I always try to get the longest lasting date out of everything, even my salad produce, because I know there'll be days I'll come home and I will be too tired to fix it. That's a good trick.
It is. And then if those dates if you keep your food in the fridge longer, just make sure you're still looking at dates. I want to know what Caroline's making.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'm looking at you and you are kneading that dough. And what are you cooking?
I'm making pupusas.
Oh, what is that?
It's like a Salvadorian, it's almost like a quesadilla, but you're not using 2 tortillas. You're using masa and cheese. And you make it into a ball and you just pat it out.
Pupusas are so good. You can even have like
you can even make it the next
meat.
Yeah. I'm making cheese, and then you can use it the next day, and you just cut it up, you fry it a little bit, and you add eggs to it. We call it amigas. And that's it. But I have my granddaughter's birthday, first birthday, and they wanted pupusas, and I'm like, well, I have a Zoom, let me multitask.
I'm gonna need that recipe. Okay, so somebody else has given us a recipe. Miss Gloria, was that you, Miss Gloria? Gloria, you sent a recipe? Sarah,
No,
Sarah
it's
sent a
Sarah.
recipe.
Yes, Sarah.
Caroline is about to send recipe. By the time this is over, we're gonna have a whole cookbook. So
Another one.
Is that Renee? Because Renee's been working on a cookbook, right?
Yeah, Renee was. Renee said we buy kiwi in bulk, and what we don't eat, we throw in a blender and use as meat marinade. It's great for beef and chicken. Ooh.
Oh, wow. Renee, Thank you for monitoring the chat, Jenny, because I don't even have the chat
The
open.
level. Wow, I love it.
Wow, that sounds good.
Hmm.
Can you send us that recipe? I'm serious. When it's about food, food is about sharing, right?
That's it. Yep.
Food is about sharing. So here we are. Here's a slide, and we're already talking about a lot of this stuff. So people who batch cooking is making big items and then sorting it up, putting it into smaller meals. And you can batch cook, like you can make like a base of like a soup, and then you can add different meats or different vegetables to it all, or make a pot of beans and change that into a couple of different meals. So you can make chili, and then you can make red beans and rice, and you can make soup and all. But that's really a great way to batch cook and create meals out of one-time cooking. So if you can see these plates, and I challenge myself on the regular, because oftentimes if we're out somewhere, or like people who go to like buffets, or if you're out eating somewhere and there's two different kinds of sizes of plate, it's always better to get the smaller plate, unless you're able to take that food home with you. Get the smaller plate, because oftentimes we fill up our plates because our eyes are saying, I need this, I want this. But if you get a smaller plate, fill it all up, you're getting the same amount of food sometimes. Well, you're getting the same portions of food. You're getting the same food, but you're getting smaller portions. I'm sorry. And so smaller plates will help you, especially those of us who are on a weight loss challenge as well. Smaller plates will help you to monitor what's on your plate, eat what's on your plate, and not leave the leftovers behind. This is my favorite thing to do. So how many people, so we talk about this often, Constance was talking about how grocery stores rotate their food, right? So they rotate their food out by putting the dates in the back, the newer dates in the back, and the older food up front. You want to do the same thing in your refrigerator. So I'm going to make sure you guys get a container, because I'm giving you homework. Oh, where did I just put it? I'm giving you homework, and I'm going to have Martina and Geneva get you guys some products. But now I have to figure out what I just did with my stickers. Oh, here they are. So this is called an Eat First box. You can use an acrylic shoebox, or a plastic shoebox, or a paper box, or anything that fits into your fridge on the shelf, right? I'm going to make sure you guys get one of these stickers, and the kids can color them. Uh-oh. But they say eat first on it. What you want to do is all of the foods, you want to look in your refrigerator once a week, right? To look at what your dates are, what foods you've had in there that, you may have forgotten. Because how many times do we buy food and then we put it in the refrigerator and we shove everything else that was in there in the back? And so how many people forget what's in their fridge? And we saw that in that first video, that we forget what we have in there. And then at the end of the day, when it starts to smell, we're like, Oh, shoot. I didn't realize that was in there. I could have eaten that, but I just wasted it. So here's the homework is to get a box. I'm going to make sure you guys get stickers, but you don't have to wait for the stickers. And put everything in there that needs to be eaten before it goes bad. So look at your dates, your closest dates to expiring, put it in that box and challenge your family, yourself to eat that first. I used to make contests with myself. I look in there and there'd be like some cauliflower and there'd be like maybe some carrots and, you know, whatever, bacon or I don't know, whatever. And then I would challenge myself to figure out what I could cook with that. What meal can I make with what's in this box before I move on to what's around the box? Or what can I add to my meal out of this box so that I make sure that I don't waste it? And then you want to rotate it every week. You go through your fridge, say, okay, this is about to, you know, I need to eat this soon. So you put that in the box. And then you can also have contests with your mate or whoever cooks in the house. And then always want to, so that you guys can do contests and say who makes the best meal out of what's in that box.
Valerie had a question.
Okay.
I didn't. I was just raising my hand too. I didn't have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. She's just like,
It's
okay,
okay.
I see you. Okay, got it.
So put that, you know, it's a great, also, I always think it's important to tell the kids what that box is for, because kids will hold you accountable before anybody else if they see you going out of that box. But get them also to eat what's in that box first. Find something, you know, and put it low enough so they can see in there if they're shorter. But, you know, put the carrots in there, put the tomatoes in there, whatever it is that you need to put in there, and then eat that first and see if you save yourself money, save yourself from wasting food. Even the milk, Makina, put that milk in the box.
Got noted. Yep.
You're gonna be drinking a lot of milk, but you know, your smoothies, your whatever it is, use it for whatever you can.
One of the things that kind of goes bad sometimes is I'll get those little fresh containers of herbs, but I saw a thing. I'm gonna try this hack. I haven't done it yet. Is where you can take those herbs and put a little bit of olive oil in an ice cube tray and pop the herbs in there.
Yes.
And then
yes, you can.
I'm gonna try that, because I would say those tend to go. I'm like, oh, the tarragon looks so good, and this looks so good, and then I'm looking there, and they're all looking scary.
Right, exactly. Another thing you can do with those is you can wrap them in like a paper towel. Because the moisture is what makes them, they either dry out because of too much moisture. I mean, because of lack of moisture, or they go, they get moldy even because of too much moisture. They put them in those little plastic bags. So you can wrap them in a paper towel and then put them in the back in the plastic, or put them in a Ziploc, and that will help. That should help too. But yes, using an ice cube tray with your whatever oils that you use. If you use avocado oil, I'm gonna take this background down because
I'm gonna start doing that with my broth, because I like get that, like chicken broth, because sometimes it calls for a recipe, and then it sits in there, and sometimes I forget to put the date on it, and then I'm like, oh, is this good anymore? And you kind of smell it and shake it. But I think I should probably start freezing up and bagging them, like, this is 1 cup of chicken broth, so I can just grab it and go.
Yeah, that's a great food prep idea, is to all your sauces you can make in advance. This item here, which a lot of people use for baby food, but it's just like an ice tray, but it has a lid on it. And I'm gonna give this to somebody
You
today.
can actually put popsicle sticks in there and make popsicles as well.
You can.
And put,
You can put oil and
blended-
your herbs in it.
Yep.
And freeze them. And so when it's time to cook, you just take it out and put it in your sauce.
Do you have the
there's-
ability to make that bigger? Because maybe I can figure out how to make it bigger so I can see it. I got everybody looking small.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
This is what it looks like. It's just a little, it's like a little freezer tray.
Oh yeah. Nice. Where'd you get that at?
You can get them at most stores. You can get them on Amazon. And
just
in most stores in the cookware department, like Fred Meyer's, you know, or Walmart, you know, you can find items like this. Oftentimes you can find it in the baby food, in the baby section, because people use it for baby food. If they make their own baby food. There's lots of different uses for it, but it's just like an ice tray. And you can also use an ice tray and put the, you know, cellophane over the top of it. But that's one way to be able to store your herbs. You can, so create that Eat First box. That's going to be key. That's your homework. If you didn't get to see this, I'm going to make sure everybody gets at least 2 of these so that the kids can color, or you can color them also. And challenge yourself, challenge your family with your Eat First box. That's going to save you a lot if you practice and use it. Also, you can repurpose your scraps, just as Sarah was talking about smoothies and not smoothies, but juicing and using the pulp in carrot bread and, you know, using the pulp for things. You can repurpose your scraps to do a lot of different things. You can look them up, different recipes on what scraps, what you can do with your food scraps. There's also, you can take your lettuce, not your lettuce, but your, lettuce too, but your celery stalk, and cut the bottom off, put it in some water and regrow your celery. There's lots of different things. That's another class too, but there's lots of different things that you can do. And to use your to use your scraps. Also what the ham bone that Constance was talking about, you can take that and make soups with it. You can, you know, do other things with it. So don't throw everything away, because they are reusable. Sharing food with friends. Yes, if you make too much, you may have seniors that live right next door, down the street, or, you know, a church nearby that you can share food with your friends or your family, or, you know, somebody on the street that just might look hungry. So think about others if you do share too much, make too much, and then of course freeze what you can't finish. How many people eat leftovers? How many?
I love leftovers. I think they taste better, but
yes, they do. I love them too.
I do too. There's something about marinating the next day. Once it marinates, it's like all the seasonings they settle in together, and it's a much better meal. Especially if it's like spaghetti, which I don't eat spaghetti anymore, but I used to love like the next day spaghetti, or any of the anything that you get in the restaurant. I'm gonna just say that there.
I eat leftovers all the time. And going back to the comment you made about restaurants, I always eat my food in small portions. So every time I go to a restaurant, I automatically section my food off. I only eat half there. The other half, I usually bring it home, sometimes later that day or the next day. But I don't mind leftovers. Grew up on them, so yeah.
I know, right?
Yes.
I
for
think
sure.
they have more, oh, both of you guys are
I'd
here.
like to go somewhere.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, friends.
Hey, family. Yes.
How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful.
This
Love
is
you.
just a big hug. I
Got
love
any
you.
great suggestions, the two of you? Let me know.
I love you guys. Okay. It's amazing. I know we see each other on Facebook, but we never like chat or anything. But
I know.
I always think, oh, it's good to see you.
Good to
Last
see you.
year I took
Got my
you and
face
your
here.
siblings to lots of Airbnbs.
Hey, friend.
Hello.
So in the song, it says store new food behind old ones. So that's kind of like the food box, but all the eat first box, but also when you put your food in the refrigerator, make sure that if you buy the same thing, like if you buy, and you have two things, make sure you put the one that's needs to be used first up front. So you can grab that first before you use that new one. Sometimes people will have like a carton of eggs and they have like 4 eggs left, and then they buy a new one, and then they'll open up the new one instead of
Post them out right here.
using that last 4 eggs. So just make sure that you do that. It's really important. And eggs last a lot longer than people think. So don't throw your eggs away. This is a favorite thing that I love. Like, how many people love asparagus? Asparagus, celery, you can do this with. Any of your like cilantro, any of your herbs that are in containers, that stand up. Get yourself a small glass, put some water in the bottom, cut the bottoms off of whatever it is that you're doing, and store it inside of a plastic bag. Inside of the glass. If you are using like herbs, don't put those in the fridge. Set it on the counter, and put a plastic bag over it. It will last so much longer. Things like asparagus, don't put plastic over it, but put them in the fridge. I've had asparagus that has lasted for like 3 weeks because it was just me, and I put asparagus in a glass. I'll take out 3 or 4 and cook those, and they just last so much longer because you're keeping the moisture inside. But you can do this with a lot of different items, and store them in your refrigerator, and they last so much longer. Constant, yes, ma'am.
I noticed that my celery was getting a little pickish, so I pulled off some of the not so good looking stems, and then I chopped it and put it in glass. And then I've got those, so I have a question to you. I've got those green bags that you're supposed to be able to put your fruits and vegetables in, and they're going to last longer because they gases out or something.
Yeah, right, exactly. We're going to get to that too.
Tossed one of those bags over the celery. Do you think it's better to not put something like that over?
If you use that bag, yes. If you use like the organic bags that you can get in the grocery store, or a bag like this is a bag, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to get one of these for everyone. I have to go to Tilth and see if they'll send me some, but these are this is a produce bag, and you can buy them in any of the stores now usually, but the green ones work too. This is a reusable produce bag, but what it does is that and you can put this, you can shop with these, or you can put it in your refrigerator. It blocks the ethylene gases that some of the fruits and vegetables give out. And we'll talk about that in just a minute, but you can put these or the green bags that you're talking about over some of your vegetables, and that will save them. And it will also protect them from getting some of the odors that come out in your refrigerator too.
Yeah.
Sometimes our food absorbs those.
And if you have bananas that are way too green, you might already said this. You have bananas that are way too green. If you put some apples next to them, the gases from the apples will cause the bananas to ripen. So if you have bananas and apples and you don't like your bananas to get too ripe, keep your apples away from your bananas.
And keep your bananas away from the rest of your vegetables, or I mean, or your fruit. Like lots of folks will have. Well,
Yeah.
I think this is in my next slide. A lot of folks will have a fruit bowl and they put the banana smack dab in the middle of the fruit bowl. And the bananas also give out an ethylene gas that will make the rest of your fruits and vegetables ripen faster. So if you're looking at your food going, can't believe that they're going bad already, you might have your bananas next to them. Take them away, keep them separate. That will definitely keep your fruits from ripening faster. Or I always do this. If I get avocados that are in the store, avocados that are still hard, I'll put them next to my bananas or next to onions. Onions have the same ethylene gas that makes everything ripen faster. If you, I know I grew up with my mom putting onions and potatoes in the same container or in the same drawer. We always stored them in a cabinet or a drawer with the onions. Onions will make your potatoes. Makina, I don't know if you're hearing me, but don't put your onions with your potatoes.
Darn it, because that's exactly what I do.
That is exactly what's happening.
That's why they go fast. They go fast.
Yes. Separate your onions from your potatoes.
Okay.
Separate your onions from everything.
Yeah.
Unless you want them for a purpose. We have a box that has onions in it. And I put, we had bought avocados and I put one avocado in that because it was too hard. And the next day I took it out and it was ripened and ready to go. And
yeah,
so
well, I don't buy in bulk anymore. Or I only buy like the onion, like one onion and like, my potatoes individually now. But yeah, that's something that's so good to know.
Yeah, separate them. My mom, we did it all the time. I grew up putting my onions and potatoes all in the same bin.
Wow.
And I didn't know until I started teaching these classes.
Right.
That I was doing it wrong. Constance.
Could you speak towards when the different kinds of potatoes, like a sweet potato or a just potato starts to grow the little spud and they start to grow the little green? My daughter told me, she's, oh, Mom, those are toxic. You need to get rid of those. And I'm like, are they? I've been eating them, so.
You want to eat them, but you can actually, I can't tell you if they're toxic. I know that I've heard that if they turn green, like you don't want to eat them because that represents toxins. If your potatoes turn green. And
yeah, sometimes mine are grown
potatoes in the fridge. Yeah, those you want to watch. But if they're growing, you can cut that out and put it in the ground. Plant them. And you can grow your own potatoes. I have potatoes growing in the backyard that I didn't even know I had, because the person who lived here before most likely started planting potatoes. But you can that's one of the repurposing things. You can take those vegetables and grow them.
Thank you.
Let's see. Any more questions before we? So I'm going to make sure, I'm going to send Makina a list of items that we're going to make sure that you can get them online, or we'll get you packets sent out from the city of Seattle that has lots of different information on them. But so far today, we've learned that we need to buy only what we need. We want to store food so that it stays fresh longer. We understand dates and labels. We make cooking and eating easy by, batch cooking, storing food. We didn't talk about food prepping, did we? Are there preppers in the house?
I have a question. Miss Addie said that you can use vinegar and it will perk up some of your wilted veggies. Can someone speak more on that? I'm curious as to like how much vinegar, what kind of vinegar, what kind of vegetables?
I just put in like maybe like a teaspoon or so in some like water and just let it sit in there, and it will kind of like perk up your like I know I do it a lot with kale, and it so it's not all welted and stuff like that. So, and then I'll cook it afterwards.
Right. So the vinegar, it probably keeps it from like molding. The key is the water. So you can take your wilted anything and put it in ice cold water and it will perk up. Your lettuce, you can do that with, but you may have to cut off the very end stems, you know, so that the water can get in there. But your celery, your lettuce, anything that you need to perk up, just add water. I would say this though, because I've done this before, is to use, you want to use water that not from the faucet, if you can help it, because whatever toxins might be in our drinking water, it's going in your food. So if you want to use, you know, other water, that's probably great. But yeah, any water, the water is the key. And the vinegar, I'm wondering, Addie, does it taste vinegary? Are you pickling?
No, I just wash it off after.
Okay.
Yeah, wash it all off.
Yeah, but you're right. And you soak it in water and it's gonna perk it all back up. Definitely.
I've had some scary looking, soggy looking Swiss chard occasionally. I'm like, ugh. I'm like, what am I gonna do that?
And you can take your Swiss chard and do the same exact thing that I showed with the asparagus.
Okay. That's a great idea.
You can store, yeah, you can store things that way in your fridge. So it looks like a little forest in there because you've got all this stuff growing.
When they
Bye, Valerie. Thanks for joining.
When they used to do that church that used to give away stuff to kinship families, that they had that, I don't know if any of you ever went to that, but there was this church kind of down by Cloverdale that like once every couple months was supposed to be doing this big giveaway to kinship families, and they had all kinds of brand new stuff that they got donated. And then eventually all the church people and the neighbor people started showing up, and so less and less kinship people got stuff, and then they stopped doing it. But they gave away a really pretty ceramic dish that had like a charcoal filter on the bottom of it with little bumps on the bottom of the ceramic that I could do my herbs in. So
oh wow,
I've used that occasionally.
Yeah, there's some great tools out there that you can use for different purposes, and sometimes we don't know, but I'm big on watching stuff on social media now. There's like all these, there's a whole population of young folks that are into gardening and using organic items, or using things around your house instead of having to go and get all of these new items. So you can find, gosh, if you're looking for anything, you can probably find it on social media, but there's a lot of folks that are teaching us how to do things just from some of the items that are in our house, or maybe going to the thrift store and finding some great things. So let's see. So I'm going to make sure that you all get these items, but I'm also going to send you the links, have Makina send you guys the links out to these documents that are here. There's the City of Seattle. They're all virtual. You can get them virtually, or we can get them to you in paper. but there's a meal planning guide and shopping guide that talked more about meal planning and how to shop best. This is one of my favorite things. If you guys can see this slide, this is a lovely piece. This is a meal plan for the week. And I think Geneva, I think you guys also have something like this in your planner. But it's a meal plan for the week. And if you take the meals, you plan out your meals for the entire week, what you want to have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, what items for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, and snacks. And on the back of this document is also a grocery list where you can look at your meals, because this is the key. This is one of the keys to meal planning, is you plan what you want and the items that it takes to make those. So if you're having for breakfast eggs and grits and tomato or whatever, you write that down, and then on the back or next to or whatever you want to do, you put your grocery list. So you're only buying for the week what you've planned out. That's one of the ways that we not over purchase what we need to purchase. But so you can look on your list and say, is this am I going to cook? Am I supposed to cook this week? Well, if I'm not, then I shouldn't buy it. But these are great tools that the cities gives folks to be able to shop better and prevent food waste. So I think this is one of my favorite tools. This one right here on the right is a food storage guide, and I'll make sure you all get one. If you don't have one, some may have one already, but you can get this also online, or we'll send it to you. It is a food storage guide, and it's like a picture of your kitchen, and it has a refrigerator open and the cupboards open, and it shows you exactly where to store different items to make them last longer. There are different temperatures in your refrigerator, different shelves. It will show you exactly where to put things. Same thing on your counter. If you notice, and I don't know if you can see that far, but and I can't make this bigger, I don't think. Oh, maybe I can. I wonder if I can. Hold
Looks like you have bananas closer to the window.
The bananas are separate, but the key is the bananas are separate from the fruit basket.
And hang them.
So you want to separate, that's the key. Same thing with your onions and potatoes. Onions are here, potatoes are there. Now your squash can go next to your potatoes, but do not put your onions next to anything.
I shouldn't be putting my bananas with my apples and my oranges?
No, ma'am.
Oh boy. Okay.
And like as Candace said, apples also give out a gas, but the bananas are the ones that will make most of your fruit go bad.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Unless you want to, you put your avocados or anything you want to get ripened faster next to your bananas or next to your onions, and you will get a result, but you got to monitor.
Gotcha.
So that you don't waste it. But yeah, there's different, this is I love, and I think that it should go on everybody's refrigerator so that people know exactly where to put things. But it's a great tool. And then it has information on the back that talks about food storage and in more in depth. And then there's a freezer storage guide also that I'll make sure that you get either the link to or get it in person, get it in paper. So, but these are great tools that the city are providing for folks so that we can do a better job. Because people say we compost. Yes, we compost, but composting is actually the last thing you want to do.
Well, every day.
I'm sorry?
Every day you have to compost.
Yes, every day you have to compost, but you want to make sure that you're not composting meals. You want to eat those meals.
I have 3 boys. I don't.
Oh, nice. I get it.
Got a built-in garbage disposal, so.
And so, and then I ask you just to make a pledge to yourself and think about what is it that you said that you waste the most, and make a pledge to commit to do your best to not waste it.
Well,
And that is all that I have today.
Brenda said, is that just when it's out on the counter? What about when it's refrigerated?
What is that?
What are you pertaining to, Brenda?
You're
The
talking about
food
like
guide?
apples and stuff with certain kind of fruits. Now I keep my apples in the refrigerator.
It will show on the guide. You can do that. That's why the fruit crisper is there. The fruit crisper is a different temperature, and it has like different temperatures on the food guide. But your fruit crisper is different than what your vegetable crisper may be. And so that I think is your choice, because some people like cold apples, and and some people think that they last better in the fridge. But there's a refrigerator guide as well as the counter. So when you get the guide, you'll see the refrigerator is open and it shows all the different things, and you'll see the apples. I mean, the counter.
Okay.
As well. Somebody's holding up, Constance, you're holding up the thing.
Yeah, we have this on our refrigerator. I just love that symbol of the heart with the fruits and vegetables.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah. And it says, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And it's from Hippocrates, who came up with that thought.
That's great. I have a doctor who used to do these amazing classes on food as medicine. And I need to find her. There's lots of different things. But do you guys have any more questions?
Arnett said this workshop was great. Thank you. I learned a lot.
Oh, good. I learn a lot every time I teach it. You know why? Because everybody has, like, I love the ability to share, for everyone to share what they're doing at home, because we don't have all the answers and we learn a lot from different people. Oh God. So I was in this one workshop at Senior Center out in North Seattle, and Saturday soup was her thing. She would gather everything in the fridge into a box that she had during the week, and she would make Saturday soup with it.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Saturday soup.
Okay, Saturday soup. I like
Bad idea. Yeah, I learned so much too. I took some notes, and especially with the vegetables, having the vegetables, certain vegetables and fruits can't have them together. Because I was like I'm totally the fruit bowl person and all that. Well, at least I used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's kind of, there are fruit bowls that have the banana hook on it.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah,
true.
and so it really,
Yes.
but they don't know. They're just making things that are convenient for us.
Right.
But actually, I learned that one too. I was like, what?
Right.
Because it looks pretty, right? So you got fruit, all your fruit right there. And then you have like your bananas, like either smack dab in
the middle.
Or hanging from that thing. And it's like, oh, that looks so nice.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just wasting my fruit.
Yep.
And not even know it, but it's visually, it's great.
Yeah. Now we know.
Yep.
Any more questions or comments or any ideas that people are doing to help us with this work? This is a lot, and
Well,
it's ever growing. We're always learning.
This is
That's it.
Gloria, and I'm glad you talked about not mixing your onions with your potatoes, because that's what I did all the time.
All my
So
life.
now I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
All my life.
Yeah.
All my life.
Absolutely. Me too, Gloria. I know now.
Yep.
Only reason why I haven't been doing it lately is because I've just been buying smaller, but like, who's to say? You know, I do want to combine my family again. I'm trying to get my son to move in with my grandkids, or all of us to cohabitate in a house, get a house together. So, you know, when I start to buy big again, I have some new tips on how to save food. So I love it.
Yeah. Set
That's a
the
great
rules,
idea.
play the games. Play
Yes.
the games that need to be played. Oh gosh, I forgot.
This was truly a great class. And I love the way you broke down and explained a lot of stuff to us, because a lot of stuff I didn't know.
I have a couple of items. We did this before and Linda never came to get the gifts. So I have a few items. How many people cook spaghetti?
I do.
How many people cook too much spaghetti?
I do.
Who is that?
Gloria.
I do
Well,
too.
you know, I'm from down south and we don't know how to really cook in small portions.
Exactly.
You know? And so, yeah, when I cook a large portion.
I'm gonna
of
write
it.
your name on this, Gloria. This is a spaghetti measurer.
Oh.
And it actually has, like, you can set it to,
wow.
You can set it to measure for how many people you're cooking for.
Okay.
Oh, that's neat.
Okay.
Isn't that cool?
That's
Yeah, that
I'm gonna
is.
put your name on it. I'm gonna give this to you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna make sure you get this.
Did you
Makina
do
and
that
Geneva,
with-
you guys gotta help me with this.
Did you do that?
Okay, we'll
with
get
Louis?
it to her.
That's Gloria. How many
Yeah.
people are choppers? I have 3.
I'm sorry. Somebody was
How
asking
many
me a
people
question.
have a challenge chopping vegetables?
I do, Sadie. This is Sadie.
I'll take one.
Constance, we do.
This is Wendy. I have a challenge.
So
Sadie.
Wendy, Sadie, and Constance.
Great, I have 3. Hold on, I'm writing it down.
I am 2 already. I already did it.
Okay, I'm writing it on these things.
Oh,
Okay,
good idea.
You do that. Happy Sabbath, everybody.
So I have those. Who else? I got this. Who's got either babies or
Popsicle maker or oils for their. You can melt butter with garlic and herbs. It's really good.
Nice.
Ooh, I would like that.
Gail?
Not babies, but
Gail?
we do a lot of butter and I hate to say it, bread for spaghetti.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Here's another spaghetti. This is a
Oh, I'll
different
take a
spaghetti measurer. I got a who didn't get a gift yet? This is a different spaghetti one. It has like different holes, but it's the same concept.
I'll take one.
Brenda. That was Brenda, right?
Right.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if you guys have ever seen these. You can get them on on Amazon, and you can get them like at different places, but I don't know where. I get them on Amazon. But these are lids. How many times do you lose your lids?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
So these are so amazing. How many times do you cut a tomato or cut an onion or cut and you only use half of it?
Yeah.
Oh, look, Caroline.
Caroline.
Oh,
And
Caroline,
you can have
that
a
one
half
already.
a watermelon and put a lid on it.
Oh, wow.
You know, I use the. You
I
can have
often use
on
them
mason
for-
jars.
I use them for a drink. Yeah. If I didn't
Yes.
finish my drink,
You
even
can
if you're
put a-
outside and you don't want a bug to get in it, you can cover your
Uh-huh.
drink.
Do that
Oh, wow.
and poke a
Great
hole in
idea.
it. You
I have
can
a little one for my avocados.
Yeah.
avocados, onions, oranges,
Tomatoes.
bowls, if you have lids, you know, you have a bowl of stuff and you need
Oh,
to put it
yeah.
in the fridge.
Mhm.
They fit, they stretch, so they fit over.
Oh,
I've got,
Wow.
What
are
are
they
they
just, are
called?
they just, can you just put them on the round bowl or can you use that oblong bowls too?
well, that depends. You gotta stretch them,
Oh, okay.
but
Okay.
it depends on how strong you are.
How
You can-
strong.
What
they
are they
fit on a
called?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
They fit on, they can even adjust to like a square, but you
Oh.
have to,
Oh, okay. Just stretch
you
it
have
out.
to kind of figure it out. So
Jerry,
Mhm.
did you have a
I have
question?
I have one set of these.
Mhm.
Jerry's hands
Jerry
up.
has her
I'm
hand
wondering.
up.
Yeah.
Is that a question, Jerry, or?
Or are you saying you want them? She might not be able to talk because she's had to type a couple times. She'll probably type. What about you, Gail? You wanted some lids?
Well, yeah, but I already got a gift. So I want to make sure everybody else gets one.
Okay.
I
What
think I
is it
have
called?
a set of smaller ones,
I
Gail.
saw Cecilia
Okay.
set up.
Can I get a couple of the smaller ones too? Just as Gloria.
I may have to
Okay.
split these up, but I will
Mhm.
make sure you guys get something.
Okay,
Okay.
got your names on those. And then
Okay.
I think Jerry will come back when she might have had to.
I saw Miss Johnson's hand up. Cecilia.
Okay, everybody's gonna get some Eat First stickers. I
Okay.
have 3 books.
Miss Cecilia,
Oh,
Cecilia
no,
was
it's not
trying to
this one.
speak.
I can't.
Mommy, Cecilia is trying to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, did you want one of those, any of those things?
Well, I would have took the lids, but it's okay.
There's another, she's splitting the small set between Gloria and Gail. And you didn't get a gift yet, right? So we can give you the other pack of lids.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got lids for you.
I think I have.
Finally, this
some
is
more.
Jerry.
I have a
couldn't get back
produce
to my
bag.
new-
Oh, Mom, hold on, Jerry. That's right.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get back to the thing where I could unmute myself.
Okay.
My question was, where do you buy those? And yes, I would like to have some, but I wanted to know, because I've never seen them anywhere. So where do you buy the stretchable lids?
You can get things like that on Amazon, or you can
Oh,
go
on
to
Amazon,
stores
okay.
like Whole Foods, PCC,
Oh,
all
okay,
of those
okay.
health
That's
food
probably
type
right
of
on
stores.
Fred Meyers has them.
Oh,
Oh,
good
okay,
to
thank you.
know.
Fred Myers do? Oh.
Fred Myers, okay. Miss Angie was raising her hand as well.
Oh, I was
Thank
gonna
you.
complete that. Jerry, if it's at Fred Meyer's, you can ask for what gift card you want. So you could always
Yes.
use your gift card to get things like that. Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, good. I have 2 canning
Who was
books.
next? Makina, sorry.
Angie.
Angie, you were
Oh.
raising your hand, but you're muted.
Yeah, I gotta lower the hand. Oh no.
I have a canning, I have 2 canning books.
The produce bag.
Oh,
Who wants that?
Angie Nash, produce bag. I
Angie
wrote it
Nash.
down.
Hi, Angie Nash.
Thank you.
Got
And I
it.
will see if I can get the city to give me bags for everyone. Everyone will get one.
Yeah, they usually
Then
have a
Angie,
lot.
I'll make sure you get 2. They usually
Thank
will, and I will see if I can get that. Makina and Geneva, you guys have to work on how to get these to people, because last time you
yeah.
they didn't get them.
They didn't get their items. Me and Makina are pretty good at getting stuff out with that, with the
Okay,
help of
good.
my delivery lady, Addie.
Who wants a canning bag?
Who wants a canning?
Lord, Sadie, could I get one?
That was Sadie wants a canning. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated. I can't lower my hand.
Uh-oh, I can lower it for you. Was that
Please.
Jerry or Gail?
Yeah. I was
Jerry.
working that
This is
thing. pretty
canning and
good.
preserve. They're canning and
Oh, I
preserving for
can't get back to the
beginners.
stuff. Oh, my
Constance.
gosh.
If you have an
Constance,
if you have an extra canning one, I'd like to try that. I've made pickles by putting them in a jar with vinegars and and in the refrigerator, but I've never really actually canned anything.
and you know what? In the fall, if you guys want to do a class, I can get an instructor. We can do a canning and
Oh, great.
as we get through TILF, I work with the garden hotline. So if you're interested in gardening, composting, learning how to compost, I'll make sure you get all this information in an email. You can take a composting class. You can take, Cecilia, I see your hand up. I'm sorry.
I wanted to ask earlier about for a long time ago.
I'm sorry.
Hard to hear you.
I wonder if there's a way to get a new compost. Yeah, for my garden.
Oh, yes. Contact the Seattle Public Utilities.
Not Seattle.
I'll put the link in there. They should be able to send you out a composting.
Auburn Federation.
They said what?
He's in Auburn. Is that?
Oh, you're in Auburn.
Yeah.
Okay, let me check who your city should give you those items. I don't know what Auburn's doing. I know Seattle is doing a big, they have this whole like food waste prevention program, and they are big on composting and all of that. But let me see what's happening in the city of Auburn.
And did she ask for one for her garden or for to be taken out to the curb?
No, in garden.
It all should be go in the same. So if you have a garden one and I'll see what they have.
Gail has her hand up.
Okay, I think that's all the gifts I have.
Was your hand up for canning?
No, it was for, I wanted the name of those lids.
Okay, they're silicone lids. I can find them real quick. I can either
Here,
send
I'll
you
look
guys
up.
a link.
I'll look up something right now.
Okay, look on Amazon. They're silicone lids.
Got it.
And if you just Google it, it'll tell you what stores also you can get them at, Nene.
And are they all BPA free? They are, aren't they? Or do
Make
you
sure that you get the ones that are. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some knockoffs or,
especially on Amazon.
Yeah. So
You're gonna have to read the fine print to make sure they're BPA free
yeah.
for that.
But they are like, I love them.
Yeah, I don't know if you ladies know, but quite frequently we'll get, water bottles like from an event, and they'll have extra water, and we'll take them and we'll toss them in a car and we'll leave them in there and then we'll drink out of them. But I will tell you, those water bottles are not BPA free. And as
Right.
soon as that car warms up, that plastic
putting those
BPA
toxins.
leaches into that water. And so you've got toxic water that can cause.
Yeah,
blood
exactly.
kinds of stuff.
Also, I'm going to say this. Glass, store your food in glass. Save your glass jar. My daughter she gets so sick of me. Save your glass jars and use them.
Guys, I was
wanna
want to
save
clarify, I'm not sick of her. We just have 6,000 jars because there's nowhere to put them at this point. That's all.